Hello, everybody. Right now, nobody has joined yet, so we'll see if we get any joiners, but I'm going to go ahead and actually just get started because I wanted to record this anyway. And I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go into the Decodable Reader's Vault and just kind of show you around. So I am in my library and I'm going to have a lot of different resources here. But if you join the Decodable Reader's Vault or the Shifting to Science of Reading membership, you will see something that looks like this when you go to your library page. So I would actually go and I would click on the Decodable Reader's Vault. However, I have that already up. All right, so I get to the screen here, and this is what it looks like when you get inside of the Decodable Reader's Vault. We do have a Start Here section. Basically, that's going to just kind of take you through the vault, kind of what I'm going to do here right now. We do have a fact section. So this is going to have things like how to navigate the vault, which is what we're going to do here, how to bookmark the page, updating your profile or changing your password. If you want to pay with a school purchase order, how to do that, or even and how to cancel your subscription if you decide to do that. And then I am Jenny, and I am the creator of the Decodable Reader's Vault. And this is Megan down here, and she is my #1 gal, very experienced with science of reading, as am I. But she does a lot of our resources now. I've created a lot of them in the past, and now she's been creating like the decodable readers inside the Decodable Readers Vault and the activities that have been going with them. So a lot of the items that are in here, Megan's kind of the mastermind behind those. All right, so I'm going to go back here. The reason you're even getting this email is because you did sign up to join our Reader of the Week. I really hope that you were able to check out some of those readers, try them out in your classroom. And maybe that's why you're watching this video now. So I'm going to just go inside because the Reader of the Week is going to continue inside of the membership until we've gone through all of the readers. And so when you go in here, you do get that SOR binder I've been talking about, which can house all of your reading group information. And so there is a video on kind of how to set up the folder because it's kind of neat. And it's real easy to change your groups in it and things like that. So definitely something to check out there. And then here we do have our kindergarten and our first grade readers for the week. And basically, it's just going to show you the reader, kind of talk a little bit about the story and what's going on, and different activities you can use. And then it'll actually just take you to that reader inside of the vault. So here is like 𝐷𝐐𝐻, and these are going to be all of the things for 𝐷𝐐𝐻, which we'll kind of go over that in just a minute. We do have a what's new and coming soon. What is coming soon here inside the vault? We're going to have some training videos on exactly how to use our lesson plan. Okay, so we do have scope and sequences. Now, inside the vault, we do have 2 scope and sequences. We have UFLI for kindergarten and first grade. All of the books are complete. All of the activities are complete, which is great. And then we do have IMSE for kindergarten and first. Now, our IMSE, we don't have as many resources. We do have the decodable readers. We do have the digital readers, and we do have the passages, but we don't at this time have any of the activities that go with them. So just note that. Now down here, it's going to have editable lesson plans, UFLI, kindergarten, first grade, IMSE, kindergarten, first grade, decodable passages, fluency passages, and digital readers. And we'll kind of talk about each of those. Just a little side note, our editable lesson plans, we have actually decided to change them up a little bit, and some of them are uploaded already, I think up to lesson 40. We just changed the layout a little bit and made them a little more specific for each book, giving more information about each story. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into UFLI kindergarten, and I was going to go to the story, The Lab. I actually have some things pulled up already, so I don't have to download everything. And so here is the lab. Now this is lesson 26, the letter L. So here, if you look down here for the lab, we have lesson 26, letter L, and it's going to show you all the letters that they've learned so far and all of the part words that they've learned so far. So you can see we haven't even learned all of the letters yet with the story. Our books are aligned specifically with UFLI. So you're not going to find in these books like what things that they haven't been taught yet. So they generally follow that scope and sequence as you go. So this is what it looks like. And over here is where you download the resources. We do have the editable lesson plan. We do have a printable PDF lesson plan as well. You can always just print from the editable one too, but some people don't have PowerPoint, and the editable lesson plan is in PowerPoint. So, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second. We do have our readers. We have a color and black and white version. And then we're going to have like our extension activities of comprehension, word work, and word mapping. This is the editable lesson plan. So let me make this big. So here it's going to have a little warm up where you can review some of the things that they've already learned, some of the phonics skills they've already learned. And all of these boxes you can type into. So you can put in their group names and the date. Here for the notes, there's a type here. There is a second page that does not have those boxes. So if you want to easily print it from the PowerPoint, you can do that. The PDF also does not say type here in these boxes. So you can print it out. And then if you're just writing, handwriting while you're doing your groups, which I would think most people probably do. So that's there for you. And so it's going to show the phonics skill, and it's going to give ideas of how you can start to explain that phonics. You can tell them place the tip of your tongue just behind your top teeth and let your voice flow out smoothly like in the lip. And then we have here optional, you can use the mouth mirrors so students can see themselves making that sound. And then we have our decodable words. Now these are going to be all the decodable words from the text. And if there's other words in there that you would want to work on, or you don't want to do all of the words, which I wouldn't suggest doing all of the words because it would take a lot of time, you can go ahead and kind of pick and choose what you want, and you can go ahead and delete them in here. Same thing with the heart words. Maybe there's a couple that you feel like they're just not grasping and you want to like review those ones. What we did, we have a word work, which I'll show you here in a minute. We do have a word work PDF that gives the specific format for the word work and the teacher script and everything. But we did go ahead and just put in like the words that they are going to make. So for example, maybe you forgot to print that out and you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants because we know that happens, then you can go ahead and, you're going to see what words they were going to make. And then we have our text. We do have an introduction for the text. Here, this one says, today our story is called The Lab, and the story Len is in a lab with a lamp, some books, and even a little problem to solve. And then it says, as we read, listen for the L sound, like in lab, lamp, and look. To make L, place the tip of your tongue just behind your top teeth and let your voice flow out. So it's repeating that same language. And then you can do, before you begin reading, what do you think might happen to Len in the lab? When teaching, I had a really hard time with decodable readers for a long time because I felt like most of them literally just took the skill that you're doing and made up really stupid stories usually that didn't even really make sense. And so that was a big thing for me in wanting to create my own, because we really wanted to have it where, the story is going to make sense. And it's not just a bunch of words that you're working on slapped into a book. And so we worked really hard on that to make sure that, it's going to follow a storyline and, have a problem and a solution and things like that. So it's kind of hard with the earlier books a little bit, but I do feel like we were able to do that and very successfully. So I'm gonna brag on Megan there for a minute, because Megan's the one who created the decodable readers. And so here we do have the question at the end of the book, and I'll show you that in a minute too for the lab. And then we do have a dictation. So we did put optional on this. And honestly, like these lesson plans, there's a lot of stuff in here. And so you can take out what you don't want to do. We wanted to give you all the information so you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do. And then, or if you want to have it over 2 days, you can go ahead and do that and, make it fit your needs. So with that said, with this lesson plan, now we have all of those activities to go with it. So first of all, we've got, this is the lab, comprehension. Okay, Jess, could I use this layout with UFLI? You're talking about the lesson plan? Yes, absolutely. And so these books are, you can use them whole group or small group, but these books are more geared towards small group just because it has all of the extra things you can do with it. But you can use this layout for UFLI. And I was saying earlier that all of our books they follow that UFLI scope and sequence. And so all of them are going to only cover the skills that they've already learned. So as far as phonics skills and heart words and stuff. These are perfect for small reading groups because you already have your books, you have your stories from UFLI, and then it's nice to have something in addition, which is kind of what we were aiming for when we did this. So there are some comprehension pieces here. We've got, they can put the story in order of how it happened, beginning, middle, end. We do have some things that are going to kind of focus on the phonics skills. And then, so here we've got, and then heart words, draw a picture for each part of the story. And these vary, so not everything's going to be the same. A lot of the activities are the same for each book, but depending on the story and when we get into more difficult stories, there are going to be, more difficult skills that are added in worksheets and stuff. And so, of course, you would not be using all of these, but you get to pick and choose, what you want to do. Or if it's something you want to send home, with your students to do something at home, you could always do that too. Little word search, again, kind of like for beginning, middle, end. This is a little fluency practice. So they would practice reading the sentences and then they can color in a check mark. We like to add some like connections of like relating the story to themselves. So Len gets lost. Have you ever felt lost before? What happened? And we have just some different options. So we got like feelings, how he felt, when he got lost, and then how he felt after Tim helped him. And I need to show you the story so you know what I'm talking about. And then there are answer keys for all of those as well. Let me get out of this one. I'm going to go back and show you the book real quick. So here's the story, The Lab. So here's just a sample one for you to see. And they're real easy to print. So basically there's two books, right? And so you can print it either one-sided or two-sided. And all you have to do then is you cut it down the middle and then you staple the sides. And so really easy. Color and black and white, we have both. When they get started, and this was in the lesson plan that I showed you, these are the decodable words and the heart words, but this is great just for a little warm up for them to go ahead and read the words before the story starts. So here we have Len is in the lab. Over here, the lamp in the lab is on. Len looks at books. The lamp dims. Len gets lost. Help me, said Len. Tim gets to the lab to help. Tim taps the lamp. Len and Tim left the lab. And then at the end, there is a comprehension story. What happens to Len in the lab? And like I said, we try to get a little storyline, even though they haven't learned a lot of letters and heart words and things like that yet, but we try to get it to actually be a storyline. We do have some word mapping activities, which were in the lesson plan as well. This is where you would kind of pick and choose what you want to do. And we did for this, we only have the two heart words here and only some of the decodable as well. And basically there's two options for word mapping. You can print out this book. Okay, this is just in black and white, but we've got the words here. So the decodable words, you can go ahead and tap it and map it. They can use their little markers or whatever, coins, whatever. And then they're going to go ahead and graph it, writing those sounds in there, and then writing the word. And so we do have pages for all of the words that we included. And you can kind of see the number of sound boxes that are there too for the word to fit. And then we have the heart words. I think we had two in there, same thing. And then, so you can use that book, or we do have a word mapping worksheet, and you can see the words on the next page where there's an answer key. And so you can practice just in a worksheet way, then it's only one page. You're not printing out a bunch of stuff and things like that. So if you want to do that, and that is in the lesson plan as well. Here's the word work that I was talking about. So for the word work, they are going to make these words up here, and that's what I was showing on the lesson plan. But we do have that whole script here. So here's some letters, and then we have student letters. And so you can either, have those cut out ahead of time, have the students cut them out, whatever works best for you. But they're going to use these letters to make the words. And so here we have like make the word lab, write it on your whiteboard, change the ending sound to p. What's the new word? Lap. So it's going to go through the whole entire thing for you. And then we also have like cut and make So you can make different words. There's a couple of those, and we have some sentence building. So you build the sentence and they could draw a picture of it. One looks at books, lab. And again, these get a little different and a little more difficult as the books and stuff get more difficult too. Okay, so that was the sample. I'm going to go back into the Decodable Reader's Vault. So for every story, you're going to see that. You're going to have, the lesson plan, you're going to have the black and white, color book, comprehension, word work, word mapping. And then the other thing that we do have for each book is we do have a digital. It's actually really easy to use because the students don't have to log into anything. They don't have to have another username and password or whatever. And if you do use Google Classroom, you can assign it in Google Classroom. And here is the link to the book. So if you're using this like on your smartboard in front of the classroom, you can go ahead, and just go to this link and it's going to have everything there. So here is the lab, and then you can just kind of click through it, and it's going to be the same thing that, obviously the same thing as what I showed you before. What's also cool is we do have bookcases. And so if I go to this home button down here, it's actually going to take you to all of the digital readers for the kindergarten books. So here's all of the kindergarten readers here. And so then if you want to give your students that full access, then you would use that link that I just showed you. But if you don't want them to have full access to all of that, you can go ahead and go into this one here. And this one is only going to give access to the book. You'll see there is no home button down here. And so students won't have access to that entire bookshelf. And there are directions inside kind of how you can set up those on iPads, student devices, and things like that. So those are in there. And that would be under the digital books. And we also have digital passages. Or not digital passages, sorry, just passages. These are nice. So if maybe you read a book together in class and you want your students to practice at home, but you don't want to make another copy for them or, spend use all that paper or whatever. We do have passage forms, and it actually comes in 3 different levels as well. For kindergarten, this is level 1, and this text is exactly the same as in the book. So that's nice. But you could send this home for some extra practice or whatever. Maybe put them at like centers. If you're doing centers while you're doing your small groups, they could read it again. Maybe you have them, highlighting the decodable words and the heart words, reading it a few times and answering the question. Level 2 is the same storyline, but these are going to be phonics skills through 1st grade and the heart words through 1st grade. And then level 3 is going to have through 2nd grade. So you can see it's the same storyline. It's kind of nice to do for differentiation if you still want the students to work on that skill, but they have, a more difficult story to work on if they're higher up. So those are the passages. Okay, I want to kind of stop there just to see if you guys have any questions. So what I was going to do is if you want to join the DRV, this is actually a really good time to join because like I said, we just finished up our 1st grade, all of the activities that go with the 1st grade. And so we're going to be doing a little bit of pricing changes from our Shifting to Science of Reading membership, which includes the Decodable Reader's Vault and the Decodable Reader's Vault. So the Decodable Reader's Vault in itself is actually going to be going up. We haven't quite decided yet, but we've added a lot of resources since we first set these prices. And if you are interested, this might be a good time. Now, I don't have a set date of when this is happening yet. It's just been something that we've been talking about and thinking about. Well, thanks for showing up, guys. I'm glad you came and joined me today. All right, you guys have a great night, and we will talk to you later.